Grant me strength, please guide my way onto the path of my being. Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, I'm calling your name. Oh, Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear viewers, to another one of our fantastic episodes of Let's Talk. And I'm your host for the evening, Junaid Dar. Brothers and sisters, we have a fantastic program prepared for you today with 4 very special guests. But before we introduce our guests, let me just give you a quick reminder about our subject. We're going to be talking about one of the most popular subjects amongst Muslim circles. And what is that? You probably guessed it. Yes, it's marriage. Not just marriage, but talking about how to select the desired wife that one is looking for. We know that the Prophet ﷺ, he told us that nikah min sunnati, that the marriage is from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Furthermore, the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the one who refrains or abstains from my sunnah is not from me. So we can see from these 2 narrations that getting married is from Islam, and the Prophet ﷺ has placed strong emphasis on it. But we want to look at things more systematically. What kind of a wife are we looking for, and what are the criterias? But before we go into that, let's go around the table and see who are our guests, and we'll get them, inshallah ta'ala, to introduce themselves. So if we can begin from the right hand side, inshallah, brother, could I ask you to just give us your name and your age, and tell us if you're married or not.
Okay, sure. My name is Omar Khalid. I work as a freelance translator. I'm 30 years old, and I'm single.
Okay, fantastic. Brother.
Hello, I'm Muhammad Rafai. I'm a teacher of English. I'm 27 years, and I'm single as well.
Okay,
Same
fantastic. Idris?
My name is Idris. I'm from America. I'm an English teacher at an international school. Yes, I'm married. I'm an old man, so.
You're not that old. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Patrick. I'm from Slovenia. I'm still in university. I'm not married. I'm engaged. Hopefully, we'll get married soon. Inshallah.
Okay, fantastic. So we have a good mix of people. We have 2 people not married, 1 married, and 1 halfway. Okay, excellent. So let's begin with yourself, Brother Omar. Can I ask you, just give us some insight into the importance of marriage. Why should we encourage each other to get married?
Well, sure, of course, the first thing that you said, brother, about that this is the sunnah of the Prophet, and because it's the sunnah of the Prophet, that's going to be beneficial for us, for men, both men and women. And we know that the taqwa, or being pious, is divided into 2 things. Something that's in the mouth and the tongue, and also which is regarding guarding the private parts of men and women. So when somebody gets married, the man or the woman, he's going to guarantee half of his deen by this way, because the other half is from his mouth, what he eats and what he says.
Okay.
So now it's guaranteed for him to be halfway to being a pious person, you know.
Okay, excellent. So we've got the opinion of the single brothers. Let's just get Brother Idris here. You're a married man. Could you just give us a very quick insight into the importance of why we should encourage each other to get married?
In my opinion, he already gave you the basic foundations of it, but to add on to this, I would say that, you know, in this beautiful religion of ours, it's some people like to think of it as a restrictive thing, which they're not actually thinking with religion correctly. That it's more of a, you were created with desires. Everyone has them. You have wants, you have desires, you have inclinations. This is normal. This is how we're created, and our religion doesn't, you know, tell you to stop it. Okay. It doesn't tell you that you can't do this. You were created to have it. So why are you telling me I can't do it? So all it does is regulate it. Right. So marriage regulates these things into a healthy, you know, a good way that Allah wants you to in the religion. Okay. As vice versa, just following whatever you want and giving into your, you know, and having no rules, no regulations, just whatever you want. This is a chaotic life. Okay. So Allah wants, marriage is a way of regulating your desires, not just suppressing them, and that's unnatural. Okay. I mean, you're not forced to get married, but it's a good idea, because if you're being honest with yourself, then you'll know that this is a good thing for you.
Excellent, thank you very much. If I can come back around, Brother Muhammad, if I can ask you to just give us some insight into some of the dangers of people not getting married. What kind of society would we be living in if people abstain from that?
Yes, first of all, I just want to say that what Mr. Idris and Omar and you said, actually, it's beyond argument, and it's really hard to argue with that. And actually, I just want to shed some light on this question, saying that getting married a bit early is a kind of a very good leverage for everyone. For me personally, if I would get married, like, it would be a great chance. Actually, because like we can imagine that Islam is like going from like a riddle, going from a small one to the bigger one. Start from the small family into a bigger family, into the whole society. Just you're affecting the whole country, your whole nation. And that's why, like, you're starting, like, building your own family, building your own society, like, affecting the other people, trying to do the same. But if you're not gonna stay without marriage, you're gonna, like, you're not gonna have a kind of settlement in your life, and maybe a kind of time management. There is no time management, like, in your life, someone to be by your side, to push you up. And actually, what's more important for everyone to be, to have such a kind of decent life. When you have, like, a wife, and she's gonna be your partner in life.
You have a family to go back to.
Yeah, sure, of course, yeah. Okay. That's why, like, she has to be by your side. You're not gonna be able to go with your own life, like, alone. Someone to be by you, like, to push you up for prayers or for such kind of worships.
Excellent, very nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Brother Mustafa, can I ask you? You're a young man. Can I ask you to tell us as well about some of the dangers that the young people face when they delay marriage?
Well, some of the dangers that young people face when they delay marriage is that most of the time they spend a lot of time, of course, in college, and when you delay marriage, it's kind of hard to find a proper wife, because personally, I met my fiance in school. It was really early, but when you already finish your university and you go out there, you have a job, and basically that is all you do. You have friends and you have a job. It's hard to find someone appropriate in order to marry. So if you're searching for a wife, you should start early, because the process itself, it takes time. It doesn't just, pop up. Oh, I'm going to marry her. Or you need to know who you're going to marry, and you need to know. You ask yourself, what are you searching in your wife? She's not going to be only your wife. She's going to be your best friend. She's gonna be your sister. She's gonna be all of those things in one. So you have to put that in consideration when you're searching for. So if you delay marriage, therefore you delay the process of actually finding the right wife for you, which is
excellent. That's a very good angle to look at the. Idris, did you have something to say? I saw you raising your hand.
To add something.
Go ahead.
Imagine how the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how would it have been for him if he hadn't married Khadija at the time when he did? How things would have been different for him. And this is, the Imam of the Ummah, the leader. His life was complete, and he was able to do what he did because he had the support of a good wife. Had he not married her, life would have been completely different.
Okay.
So it serves a purpose and a point for your life, to better it. It's not necessarily, as some people might think, a burden.
No. Yeah. So. Okay, this time I want to go around and ask each one of you the very same question. Sure. You're from different countries, I can see. So could I ask you, just tell me, in your culture or in your community, is it easy for a young man to get married? Oh. If it is, tell us how, and if it is not, tell us why.
Well, unfortunately, it's not easy to get married. And I think the main reason for this is that that people, the parents of the woman or the girl, they don't try to put the young man who is coming to propose, to put themselves in the same shoes of him. Like, they try to maybe burden him by so much money and things that he cannot afford. And comparing this, that he will take my daughter and he has to make her live like my level. Of course not. That's not logical, Okay. So I think this is the main pillar of why there are problems in marriage here in Egypt, because they don't see the logic of making people, easier for them to go and get married in the beginning of their lives, and after that they can maybe have higher salaries and just to have maybe bigger houses and so on, and after that in life,
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Brother Muhammad, can I ask you to just elaborate that point further, please?
Yeah, actually, I just want to say something to add something for what Amr said.
Sure.
Actually, I'm in favor of this idea, because most of the families are looking at the people now from a kind of, let's say, a money-wise point of view, and looking at the money all the time. Maybe have you got a flat, have you got a car, whatever. And but I feel, for me personally, as Muslims, we gotta take care of our personalities. Are we gonna improve ourselves or not? Like, are we the real fathers who can really get the burden of kind of responsibility to be a real fathers and to establish our own families and to be the leaders of our own kids and whatsoever? It's looking at the money all the time is not the real point.
Okay, excellent. So we need to reflect on ourselves before we start looking at the finance.
Yeah, sure.
Because they're making it like a property like this. They are in a business or something, you know. And we are human beings. We are not properties.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think as a result of that, people do tend to marry at a lot later age.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, we need some time to make such kind of money to be ready to get married. But otherwise, we're gonna make it late.
Okay, so let's move away from Egypt and go to the other side of the world. Who should we start with? Brother Idris, could you tell us where you're from and what's it like to get married from in there?
I'm from America, and getting married there is a lot easier than it is in Egypt. It's not really a huge financial thing.
So are you telling us to go and travel to America?
I tell you to get married wherever is best for you. But for us, it's not a huge issue. For us, people get married, they don't have to have they rent a place and they're married, they're just fine. And they develop their lives together as they're growing. And it can be difficult sometimes for Muslims, not because the American culture, because they bring the culture from a lot of other countries. It has nothing to do with Islam.
Okay.
But they bring this culture to America, and they're the ones making it difficult. You don't have to look for a doctor, you have to have this and this. But as far as the more native people, for us, it isn't an expensive thing for us.
It's a fairly simple process.
It's more simple for us. The more complicated process is if you're mature enough for it, and you've prepared yourself mentally, and you do have something. You're not living in a cardboard box. You have ambition. Maybe you'll live with your parents.
Yeah.
And you live in the basement. They make the basement like an apartment for you or something. It's not a big deal for us.
Okay. Excellent.
So as you're building your life for us. But in other places, as they said, I know it's different. And nothing to do with Islam. It's a cultural problem.
Okay, so let's move to another culture. Brother Mustafa, where are you from and how is it to get married there?
I'm from Slovenia, and as well as Egypt, we're not that difficult in marriage, because in our country it's more that the people to get married, they develop their own life. So when they choose to get married, at that point they're adults. Only adults can get married. So at that point they take care of their lives. And as Brother Idris said, yes, I think it's they get somewhere to rent a place, or just sometimes they can live with their parents if parents allow so, and if it's okay. But it's not financially a problem, because people or Slovenian culture, they see their daughter exactly as their son. She's a person. She can take care of herself. She can make her own choices. Once she's an adult, she understands how the world works, and at that point she can get married, and she knows what's best for her. So they get married, they find a place to live, they build up together as a married couple, not as like they said, like property. Oh, you're coming to get my daughter, so you have to have like a car or something. No, if she chooses you, I'm okay with it. You're gonna take care of her exactly like you're gonna take care of yourself.
Okay.
Same goes for her. So yes.
Fantastic. Okay.
There's a funny thing about this is that I always think about how some of the cultures consider it like a contract or a business. It is a contract in a business, and the point is that the way you consider it and go forward, your business would be a failure.
Yeah.
You don't even really do it as a business, because if you wouldn't do some of the things you do and say in a real business, but they don't see the concept, they don't see the correlation. But really, marriage is a contract, it is a business. It isn't all just fun and joy and love and games, and it's actually you're doing something for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First and foremost. So.
All right, excellent. So we've got a mixture of opinions and backgrounds here. Let's, inshallah ta'ala, move over to a report. We'll watch this together, and then when we come back, we'll start talking about some of the qualities that we are looking for in our wives. So, dear brothers and sisters, let's move over to a very short report, and then when we come back, we'll start looking at these qualities one by one. So I'll see you in just a few moments.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah, how perfect you are, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
When you choose a spouse, the hadith says there are several things that people look at. Al-mal, some people look at wealth. Al-jamal, some people look at beauty. Al-hasab, some people look at the status of the person. And some people look at the nasab, which is the lineage of the person. And some people look at the deen and the religion of the person. So many people don't understand this narration. When the narration says, فَظْفَرْ بِذَاتِ الدِّينِ تَرِبَتْ يَدَكَ, the hadith says, become successful by selecting the one with religion, with character and conduct coupled with deen. One narration, the Prophet ﷺ says, إِذَا جَاءَكُمْ مَنْ تَرْضَوْنَ دِينَهُ وَخُلُقَهُ فَزَوِّجُوهُ. When a proposal comes from someone whom you are satisfied with their level of character and conduct, or in fact starting with the level of deen and character, then allow them to get married. Allow them to marry. You're looking at two things, character and deen, which means if the character is great and good, or equivalent to yours, slightly higher, and the deen level is equivalent to yours, slightly higher, then you stand a better chance for your daughter to be in a home where she will be happy. Get them married. So why is it that when it comes to wealth and looks and so on, some people think that in Islam you don't look at looks. You don't look at looks. As it is, the women are supposed to be covered. You don't look at looks. That's wrong. The hadith didn't say do not look at looks. The hadith is saying you see all the points you want to see, but give the tip of the scale to the deen. Which means if you have someone who's drop dead gorgeous and they don't have any deen in them, and then you have someone who hasn't yet killed you. You know what drop dead means? You die. They haven't yet killed you with their looks, but mashallah they can, I don't know if you can say drop unconscious gorgeous. That's a statement which is slightly lesser than the DD, So if someone comes and they are good looking, okay, they have a better deen in them, it is better for you to compromise the looks to a certain extent and make sure that the religion is intact than to go only for looks, because the plan of Allah is there will come a stage when that blemishless face will develop wrinkles. If you have loved the outward face, you will not be able to get along with that woman.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters, after watching that very short but fantastic report by Mufti Mink. Mufti Mink brings up some very valuable points there. First and foremost, talking about the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and secondly, he brings out an important point, talking about the beauty of a woman. He uses the words drop dead gorgeous. Is the beauty of a woman just in her physical, or is it internal at the same time? So let's go around the panel and ask our brothers what their opinion is on what they just saw. Brother Omar, if I can ask you to give your comments please on that video.
Yeah, sure. The Sheikh actually raised a very important point about being dropped dead gorgeous for the women and so on. We have to just admit that this world and this universe and this country is full of sexualized images everywhere, maybe on ads, commercials, and the commodification of women and so on. So we have to take this into consideration, that youth are bombarded. I'm not making excuses for anyone to do something wrong or something, but in relation with choosing the woman, our standards are getting higher. Okay. Because we think that every woman should look like this model or this very beautiful woman, and we just forget that they are chosen maybe between thousands and thousands of people who go and apply and go to these advertisements and so on. So we have to be a little bit realistic, and here is the order from Allah to lower our gaze. This is one of the benefits of it. Okay. To have our standards come back, and we can really be pleased and feel the pleasure of if even she is average or above average. And of course this is relative from person to another.
Okay, so, fantastic. Yeah. Brother Muhammad, if I can ask you to give your thoughts on the video.
Yeah, of course. I just wanna say that Brother Omar put that well about the beautiful girls and whatever. Just let's say that I just wanna send a message for every young man or every man here. who's watching us, like really just we have to lower our gaze all the time, because like this is one of the main points that you're gonna find really doing a good part when you choose your wife. It has like a very good effect on you. Like you find yourself like going on the right track. Like really, it's gonna affect you like from inside outside.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, Idris, what did you think of what Mufti Bing had to say? I saw you laughing through the video.
I love Mufti Bing. He's an amazing guy, and I benefit from him a lot all the time. But for me, what I got from the video is that the first thing you need to be is honest with yourself. Okay, let's not live in a world of of what we think how the world and how we are. You be honest with yourself, and you want to, in the process of looking for someone, be honest. Yeah. And at the same time, dig deep in yourself and find that if your wants and desires aren't in line with what the Rasulullah ﷺ is giving you advice for, then you need to fix this first.
Right.
Don't look at it as though, don't worry, I'll figure it out as I go along. No, you need to fix your desires first to where they go in line to what you need to be. Okay. Because if you're thinking that, okay, her deen will get better later on, but she's amazing. I think this happens to a lot of guys. They meet a woman and they're just love struck, like, oh my God, I'm not worried that she's not wearing hijab. I'm not worried about this. I'm not worried. She'll change. And it's a disaster after they get married. They realize that it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
So you need to be honest with yourself and make your insides inclined to what the Rasul told you to. Once you do this, you'll find success in what you're trying to do.
Excellent. Brother Mustafa, what did you think of what Mufti Bing had to say?
That was very well said, of course. And when he mentioned beauty, of course, it's very important that, as all of the brothers said, that many guys, especially young boys, even when they start to go to college, what they search for is the outer beauty, because this is the first thing you see in a woman.
Okay.
You don't get to know her, you get to see her first.
Right.
And the community is changing, and as they said, that there's a lot more interaction between women and men these days, not only in colleges, even in work. But what's important when you search for a wife, or someone that you're going to marry, you have to ask yourself if it's only for the looks, because that's not going to work. That never works, because you need to ask yourself, what if she has an accident? Like many times happens, don't want anyone to happen, but they got a face burn or something that that takes that beauty away, or Allah can take that beauty away at any second. So you need to ask yourself, is this girl or this woman, if that happens to her, will I love her the same way? Will I treat her the same way as before? Or it was just for the looks? Because if it's just for the looks and you're not looking for the deen or the akhlaq or actually the inner things she has to offer, then that's not going to work. Yeah, I suggest you, as the brother Idris said, you fix that first. You start listening to the teachings and follow the guidelines, because they're there for a reason.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, so let's get deep into the subject now, and I want to go one by one, and don't feel shy, brothers. Feel free to say whatever you feel. Give us a quality that you're looking for inside of your wife. And we know beauty, so let's forget beauty. Okay, so apart from beauty, what would you say?
Well, for me, of course, after religion and so on, kindness. And that she because we need to care about people, and people care about us in general.
Okay.
So what about this strong desire towards, the opposite sex, from men to women and from women to men? So I think kindness is the best thing to embrace the both spouses inside the home and make everything secure and so on.
Very nice. Okay, so quality number one we've got on the list is kindness. Number two?
Yes, as long as me and my wife, God willing, we're going together like traffic and weather, inshallah. You need her to be as responsible as me. Take the same responsibility as a wife, me as a husband, to know like how to be like the scaffoldings of the real family, and to be supporting me, like raising our children up in a very, very perfect way.
Okay.
And to help me like in the near future, to achieve our dreams, and to be like kind of a supportive one, and of course to be a religious to help me.
Okay, mashallah, you mentioned a number of qualities there. Yeah. But I'll go with the first one. So we've got kindness and we've got responsibility. Yep. Okay, very nice, thank you. Brother Idris, you're married, so rewind the tape back and tell us what qualities.
I'm not looking for a quality, but but I think for me, and I think I would advise anyone, I think that as the hadith says, the number one quality you want in a woman is you want to look at her relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Very nice.
Because whatever problems that you encounter, and you will have problems in your marriage. I don't care who you are, you will have problems in your marriage. If you think you won't, you're living in some fantasy world. You will encounter something, or sometime in your marriage you'll have a problem. And if you don't have this deen to be your qawa'id, to be your foundation, to fix your problems, and you both agree that this is going to be the fix for you, you're playing with fire.
Okay.
So for me, the hadith, everything else is built upon it.
Excellent. Okay. So quality number 3 is piety, religiosity.
Without you.
Okay.
Not because she's marrying me that she's getting into it and doing it. Without you. How has she been without you? How, especially for a woman, they're very emotional.
Okay.
They need this more than you. We're rational. They're going to need it more in the marriage more than you. They're going to need this foundation.
Excellent. Okay. Mustafa?
Yes, I think that as brother mentioned, that responsibility. I think responsibility is very important, of course, in all wives, because you need to be able to leave the wife at home and not be worried that something would happen. Especially, and also another thing that I think it's an important quality is that you see her as a good mother, because she's going to be the mother of your children, which is really important. And I think that if you are not sure that she's going to be a good mother, I don't think that's good, because she needs to be responsible and she needs to be a good mother. There needs to be trust between the wife and the husband, of course, and you need to look at her, you need to have this quality that you look at her as everything. She's your support. If you fall, she catches you, either in religion, in work, maybe you're having a bad day, or she's your sister, she's your best friend, and she's your mother, the mother of your children, and she's your everything, and she's taking all the attention in your life. You have to, so that's a quality that she thinks the same way, so that she doesn't put something like some stuff or not okay in her head, like her deen is not
okay.
Good
Fantastic.
enough.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I like the adjective you used, motherly. So that's very nice. So we've got four fantastic qualities. I'm going to go around again and ask the qualities again. But this time I want you to bear in mind that there are people, sisters, who may be struggling to get married and they don't quite understand what's the problem. Okay, so let's try to reach out to them and try and tell them that these are qualities that we're looking for, so they can possibly take these upon.
Account themselves for the
so what kind of things would you look for going further into that?
I would like to see from a different perspective.
Go ahead.
I think they're saying something like this: I was searching for the perfect woman, and I realized that she was searching for the perfect man.
Okay.
So I have to be actually to fix these things in me in the beginning, and after that I will find this in a woman who's going to match these qualities. Because it's not fair to just say, I want her to be pious, kind, and all of the adjectives that we said, also motherly and so on. They are very good things, but am I good in these things? Am I responsible? I'm kind, I'm pious, and so on.
Okay, good. So self-reflection. Brother Muhammad, what other quality would you look for?
Actually, Omar said like the best ever. That's really what I want to say. Like all the men like looking for the good wife. Like she gotta be like the pious one. She's religious. She cultured. She's everything. She's perfect. So what about us? Just I'm trying first like to learn my deen in a good way, to be the good father, and to be able to like start our marriage. Like after that, like no problem. But I'm about to, inshallah.
Okay, excellent. Brother Idris?
For me, I think I would say to be realistic.
Okay.
Step out of the fantasy world and come down to the real world. And when you're looking for someone, look for the things that pick a few things that are most important to you and look for those. And also learn that the things that you don't like, what can you ignore?
Yes.
You're going to have to ignore things that everyone, the same way they will annoy you, you will annoy them. So you have to be realistic. Sometimes I think, especially women, they have these lofty goals like of us men, and we're never going to be able to fulfill these goals. The same way, vice versa, a woman won't fulfill all of your lofty goals. So come down to earth,
be realistic,
and then you'll start finding a lot better time with it.
Okay. So?
Yeah, exactly as Brother Idris said, that be realistic. Don't be in a love movie or a love story.
Keep going.
And don't be in a love movie or a love story. Be realistic. There are things you're not gonna like about someone, but my advice, the most important advice, not only to women, to men, also be yourself.
Okay.
Because most of this Web 2.0 social media sites nowadays, you see people, they're not themselves. Like they post pictures that they're not really themselves, or Photoshop, and you see that picture and it's like, oh, she looks great, and you meet her and she looks totally different, or it's not even her. It's a picture of a model or something. So don't be fooled. Be yourself. Talk, speak your mind freely. Don't be shy. Don't do like majority. Like be yourself, because when you're yourself, you're gonna find someone that's similar to you, and you can focus on the good qualities. We were actually, Brother Idris, we were talking about this before the show, and the good qualities. If you focus on those, of course, there are gonna be things you're not gonna like. But when you have a lot of good qualities, the things get neglected. Like you can ignore them. They're gonna annoy you, but you're gonna be able to take them without a problem.
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Mustafa, for that fantastic answer. Inshallah ta'ala, we're going to take a very short break here, and then we will come back and continue with our discussion. So, yeah, brothers and sisters, don't go too far away. Let's go for a short break, and then when we come back, we'll have a look at some of the qualities that we men must have when we're looking for that beautiful or that perfect wife. So I'll see you in just a few moments.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah. Subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Sheikh, I was wondering, can I ask you a question?
Be my guest.
Can I make ijtihad on my own? Is takfir an Islamic concept? Are Salafis a sect? Do I have to give da'wah to people? And is interfaith dialogue haram?
Akhi, this is not one question. These are important topics and issues that require we sit and discuss them, inshallah, thoroughly.
Actually, why don't you guys join us for these discussions on contemporary Islamic issues and concepts?
Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was here today. This is the deen, show. This is the deen 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 show.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Deen Show. From time to time, we answer some of your questions. We have so many important issues that we're dealing with here on the Deen Show, and we encourage you to come back here every week. And if you don't catch us on the TV station, you can go to thedeenshow.com, where all of our shows are there.
It is important for us, when we look at the issue of holiday myths, that we look at the whole picture. And from the beginning of time, people worshipped the Creator in different ways. The Quran tells us in the chapter of the Bee, Surah An-Nahl, وَلَقَدْ بَعَثْنَا فِي كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ رَسُولًا أَنْ يَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَاجْتَنِبُوا الطَّاغُوتَ.
Maryam, how are you?
Good, alhamdulillah.
Thank you for being with us on the Deen Show.
You're welcome.
So how old are you again?
I'm 8 years old.
I didn't want to get that wrong. 8 years old. And you've memorized how many juz of the Quran?
I memorized 21 juz from the Quran.
21 juz. MashaAllah.
As you know that there is no concept of clergyman in Islam.
There isn't?
There is not.
Okay.
And this idea is supposed to be very liberating. Nobody comes between you and your Creator.
Okay.
You do not need an operator. It's a direct call. So Islam rejects the whole notion of clergyman. So a sheikh, imam is a title that is given to a person like myself when the community feels that you're worthy of it. And it's just a title out of respect.
This is the deen show. This is the deen show. This is the deen show. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah.
Assalamu Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters, after a very short break there, to a very popular subject of marriage and how to choose a wife, or what qualities to look for in your wife. We've talked about these qualities, but now let's look at ourselves. We as guys, we need to make some changes within ourselves if we want to take this perfect woman. As they say, for every Fatima, there is a Ali. But are we that Ali yet? Brother Omar, what do we need to change about ourselves?
Well, time management.
Okay.
Because we as young people, we waste a lot of time. We cannot deny this. I deleted my Facebook maybe from about a year because it took so much time from me. So I think maybe one of the important steps that we eliminate things that are not very important. Okay. We know that there are things that are urgent and important, things not urgent and important, things that are not important and urgent, and things that are not important and not urgent. So we just specify the things that are like this, like Facebook, I think, and just remove it from your life. If it's not part of your work or it's not part of your career. So if you're not taking advantage of your time, like working out and reading books, and it's very good for the intellect, and it's going to, of course, reflect on our characters. So let's move on and do this, and just take the advantage of time.
Excellent. So number one, we men, we need to manage our time more efficiently.
Yes.
Mohammed?
Yes, let me say that as long as we're not isolated from our society, that's why, like as we said before, we need a lot of money. That's why I need more money. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, I just really want to save some time to learn my deen in a better way. And as we said before, like to save some time as well is not only to learn, but save some time for your family, to sit with them. It's not only about work. You work around the clock, day and night. You work like a horse, a Trojan. You know, you get zonked after a very long day and a very hectic day, and you get home tired and want to sleep. So no time for children, for kids, and raising them up and whatever. So you just sleep and continue life. So that's why you gotta save some time for your family.
Excellent. Well, remember, you mentioned finance, you mentioned money, and we all laughed, but it's a very serious matter because it shows your responsibility. I mean, if we had daughters, and we wouldn't give our daughter to a man who has no financial stability.
Yeah, sure.
It's a common quality.
Sure. Maybe like maybe like to work in two jobs. It's not. It is a common between the young people now. Like you work two jobs, and to save, like, to get your basic supplies, and that's what you need.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. All right, let's go on to this side of the table. Brother Idris, what do we men need to change, if anything?
I think every man needs to learn patience.
Okay.
Why? Because there's going to be a time where you have to be patient. And the best way to learn about to be patient are two ways, actually, is look at the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, look at his life and how he was the most patient. You will find inspiration in his seerah beyond belief about his patience. You know, his halim, he's amazing. That's another whole other show. We won't go into that. And the second way is also look how Allah is patient with you. If Allah wasn't patient with us, we'd be destroyed. We'd be, nothing. So you're going to need to learn to be patient. I have a second quality, but I'll save it for if we have more to talk about. But
all right, go on. Let's bring Brother Mustafa in then. Go on.
Yeah, what I think it's a really important quality is that we're, as I mentioned before, that we're equal. Like, not equal as in men and women, where we are at the same level. Like, you don't, like, this is exactly a problem in Egypt, that when a man financially he works a lot of effort, a lot of money in order to get financially ready to get married, to go to the parents and ask for the for the bride, and when they agree, he gets this sense of like I bought something, I worked for this, or like a property. That's not right. I don't think that's correct. No, she's a human just like you, and this should be kept in mind, that there's no sense of like he's above or something like that, because the house is filled with the husband and wife, and
right.
You understand what I'm trying to say? And another thing that men should change, as I also mentioned before, is be yourself. Like, don't be someone out there and show something, because many guys, even I see this in my college, they try to act cool, or go with something that's in like really cool, popular at this time. So they're trying to be like, look at me, I'm a stunt or something. No, don't do that. Just be yourself. When you talk, when you introduce yourself, talk freely, talk your mind, speak your mind. Don't just go with the flow. Just don't follow people that you think are cool.
Be natural.
Be natural. Be natural at it, and that's the best way, because then you're not gonna fool the girl or the bride you're going to marry that you're someone, and after she marries you, she actually finds out that was all like an acting face. You were on the screen. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, Brother Idris, do you want to give us that second quality before we move over to the next questions?
Okay. To me, the second most important thing after patience is knowing that you're the lead of your household. You need to take the lead and consider, when making your decisions, understand that you're affecting not only yourself, you affect your family.
Okay.
But you need to be the leader of your household. You can't, have a household where there's no leader. Everyone's just doing whatever they want. The system is designed that someone must lead. And you must be, of course, a fair leader. This doesn't mean be a dictator. Or, there's guidelines to it, but it's not an easy job. Know that it's not going to be easy, and you will make mistakes. That's part of being a leader. But you need to learn from your mistakes and know that know your role, as you said. Know your role in this situation and take it by the straight and go forward.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. All right, let's move over to the next set of questions. Brothers, can I ask you for some of the common misunderstandings that take place between brothers in marriage or prior to marriage, the causes for the problems? Brother Omar, what would you say?
Misunderstanding that to drive away maybe men and women from marriage. I think the main reason is the media.
Okay.
We watch maybe the movies and we think about marriage from this perspective of like happily ever after. And that's because we don't differentiate between two things. It's in psychology, something called falling in love and standing in love.
Okay.
The beginning of it, we feel euphoric and very, I'm going to be perfect, having a perfect life with this woman and so on. But after maybe 2 years on average, some of the studies say this, there will be a drop in these emotions. So I feel, no, I made a mistake. I chose maybe not a perfect woman, not a good woman for me. But the real mistake here is that we don't know the fact that we are not going to have this euphoric feeling for the rest of our lives, because this is not really the love. Love is a verb. Okay. It's about action, and it's not about just the emotions, to have happy time with each other, and that's it. Like movies, of course we're going to have happy times, but we have responsibilities. And maybe I can recommend one of the studies. It's by Gary Chapman.
Okay.
It's a book called 5 Love Languages.
Nice.
He's talking about 5 love languages that after maybe the emotions drop and so on. If we do these 5 things, and we realize the love language of each spouse, we can get back the same feelings again.
Okay,
love
very
and
nice.
so on.
I like the way you put that. Love is a verb. Very nice.
Thank you.
Brother Muhammad, could I ask you to talk about some of the common causes of problems?
For me personally, I see that the wife and the husband, they are the pillars of the marriage.
Okay.
That's why misunderstanding here happens when both of them see marriage from a different perspective. As we said, like the concept of marriage. Why do you want to get married? Maybe a man want to get married because I'm old and I'm getting old and gray. I want to get a wife and have family like everyone. This not the main reason.
Yes.
And the same happens with the wife. So when they get the misunderstanding in this main concept, so it happens like a very bad trouble in the beginning of maybe first year and second year. So maybe they would break up.
Okay.
This is the worst, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so looking at marriage from 2 different angles.
Yeah.
Let's go over to Brother Idris. Common causes of problems.
I think one of the biggest problem that it causes is that people look at marriage and they don't know the role of their part in the marriage. Most times brothers, your wife isn't there to cook for you. It's not her job to cook for you.
Mm-hmm.
If she does, it's all the better for you. But it isn't her responsibility to cook for you.
Yes.
It isn't her responsibility to wash your clothes. It isn't her responsibility to clean up after you. It isn't. And people have this idea that, my wife will do it. And there's a lot of lazy men that's what they do. But in reality, it's not her responsibility. If she doesn't do this, it doesn't make her a bad wife. This is something that it's not her right upon you. That you must do this. It doesn't make her a bad wife. What makes her a bad wife if she doesn't do the things that she's supposed to do according to Quran and Sunnah?
Okay.
Which are different.
But you
want those things there. You want to do them together.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a relationship where you put all these responsibilities on the woman and make her life so difficult. Help her. The Rasulullah used to do household chores. Don't leave it to your wife to clean. Of course, maybe you're working, you're tired. But save one day that you could. Okay, you know what? One day out of the week I'm going to do this. Another way I'm going to do that. Start being an active member of your relationship, not just a participant.
Okay.
Be an outside participant. Be an active member of your relationship and start doing things. If you start doing this, you'll find that your marriage will be amazing. A lot of times that we have this in special cultures, they have this idea that, you know, you're basically getting an indentured servant, a slave when you get married.
We've got a comment on what you've just said. Are you going to tell him?
Just one comment. No. I will agree, actually. Interestingly, this is one of the 5 love languages.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the acts of service.
Okay, very nice. So, Brother Mustafa, some of the common causes of problems?
Yeah, one of the common causes of problems why marriages don't work, and when there's also, I noticed this, when there's an age difference, because interests in people differ when they go through age. So sometimes when I see these couples, when the guy is like 40 something and he chooses a bride that's like 20 something, and he's gonna be like all old and, you know, not be able to keep up with things, and she's all young and she has different interests. So when the interests are different, then, you know, then this time that they spend together, there's gonna be troubling. There's not gonna be a lot of you know, common things they can share, because it's different. They're in different age. Another thing is that actually when you choose a wife, or in the media, like they said, they fool you with this images like what is marriage gonna be like, and you have this image in your head, and then when you get married, you only focus on what the media told you, and then when it's not like that, this causes fights and arguments, and you're supposed to do this and that, and when it's not true, it's actually not like that. It's a lot about compromise and sacrifice. You do the things together because you're both married. You're not just married to her and she's not married to you. No, she's also married to you, so you're both husband and wife. As Brother Idris said, it's not her job to do this and that. It's actually both of your jobs to keep the house. Of course, someone has to lead, but that doesn't mean you give orders or, you know, command around. Yes.
Fantastic. I'm afraid there's going to be, after this program, there's going to be a lot of men going home without any dinner and clean clothes.
I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, but don't look at it as like it's your right to have it back.
You're not going to have any dinner today.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. So, brothers, I want to get your commentary on one of the statements of the Prophet ﷺ, where the Prophet ﷺ, he said that the whole world is a provision, and the best of provisions is a pious wife.
Oh,
Brother Omar, what would you say to that beautiful?
Yes, sure, it's very beautiful, and I think the best explanation is another hadith by the Prophet.
Okay.
That the meaning of it, because I don't remember exactly, that the wife, that you look at her and you feel pleased, and that you feel something like this, and she's pious, and she is just regarding everything related to the house. She's she's guarding your dignity.
Okay.
So I think this can go with the explanation of this hadith for me. You know?
Excellent, very nice. Muhammad?
I just want to say that the person who gets that's such kind of pious wife, she's religious, she's a supportive one, she's responsible, she's doing the housework well. Actually, he's a very lucky man.
Yeah. Very nice. Thank you. Brother Idris, what would you say to this beautiful hadith that the best of provisions in this world is a pious wife?
I think this hadith is amazing in so many ways, because when you think about what's a provision, provision is something that you sustains you for what? For a journey. And we're all on a journey. This is the purpose of life. It's the point of life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us to what? To worship Him. And this journey, what will sustain you through this journey? What will help you? A wife.
That's right.
It's difficult by yourself. Why make it more difficult on yourself when you can lighten the load and both of you carry? It's like carrying 1,000 pounds on your back by yourself is harder than having someone else. You share the load. So I think this hadith nails it in the head. As always, the Rasulullah would say the smallest things would have the greatest implications behind his words.
Very nice. Okay. Mustafa?
Yes, I think that Brother Idris said it all, and it was very well said. And yes, the pious wife, it's important that she religiously, and that she's on a correct way, and she has a beautiful mind also towards religion. And as you said, it's a journey, it's easier for two than it is for one. And that she's also to support you, that she's not on this journey alone. No, she realizes that you're both together. So when you do a mistake, you shouldn't be afraid to do a mistake, because everyone does mistakes.
Okay.
So when you do a mistake, you're ready to listen to your wife, and she has the knowledge and the actual religious background to actually correct your mistakes.
Okay.
It's not a bad thing. Actually, it's a good thing because that what helps you in life. So if you have a wise wife, that's a beautiful thing because it helps you in life.
Excellent.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much. Brothers, we've got like just under 2 minutes to go, and in the last 2 minutes I would like to go around very quickly, each one of you giving you 30 seconds, and just remind ourselves, put marriage in the context of the Islamic framework, that like Brother Idris mentioned as well, that we are here together on a journey, and we're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this partner is there to help us to get to Jannah. That's the final goal, isn't it? So can I just give some very quick advice to brothers and to sisters about marriage and seeking a wife in 30 seconds?
In 30 seconds, oh, that's very hard. Okay, maybe I can pinpoint and just, I think it was said, but that when we have very good relationship between each other as wife and husband, the whole society is going to be very healthy.
Okay.
This is
okay, great.
Okay, I want the whole fathers and mothers, let's say future mothers, they gotta be understanding, respectable, and showing such a great of support and pushing each other towards the real deen.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So supporting each other.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Idris, how can we push each other to get to Jannah? Because that's our goal.
I think that whenever if you want to think in the context of marriage, my advice would be, is remember that you will stand before Allah.
SubhanAllah.
If you remember this, then everything else will come in order. Remember, you'll be naked, and you'll be facing Allah, and He's going to be telling you and putting forward everything you did, wrong and right.
Yeah.
So if you remember this, it will scare you and make you, direct you in hopefully in the right way.
Very nice, thank you very much. Brother Mustafa?
Yes, it was all said, but yes, the most important thing is that go to Jannah, that the relationship between wife and husband, there also is a strong relationship between both individuals and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that they realize that this is the right, this is the leader, this is the one you're going to face at the end, and you're going to see your sins and your goods, and supposed to keep that in mind always.
It's good, brothers. The way you describe it is like a three-way relationship.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Allah is
and
there.
Also the kids, Allah is there with everyone individually and with all of you as in a group. So you have to keep this in mind, that as you have your relationship with Allah and alone, you're supposed to share also the relationship with your wife as together with Allah and share a marriage, of course.
Thank you very much, brothers. We have come to the end of the program, and I want to thank all of you. Brother Omar, thank you very much for coming to the show. Brother Muhammad, thank you very much. Brother Idris, fantastic. You are one man against three. You're the only married man, so thank you very much. Brother Mustafa, you are engaged. We wish you all the best, inshallah. Thank you very much for coming and giving us your expertise as well. Dear brothers and sisters, we have come to the end of our program here on Let's Talk. What a beautiful subject, the subject of marriage. But we tackled it from a number of different angles. And let's not forget that effectively marriage is our means, inshallah, for us to get to Jannah. We are there to support one another. We are there to aid one another. And when we do stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will also give account for what our partners did in this life. Brothers and sisters, I'd like to thank you very much for tuning in, and inshallah ta'ala you will see us on another episode of Let's Talk at the same time, at the same place. So until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How perfect my Allah is, and I praise Him. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. You are Allah, Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, Subhanallah. How perfect you are, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your mercy is great.